In what is not a surprising move, the state of Missouri has, misery. They've essentially adopted that as their go-to, their model for the state. We're just going to make everyone as miserable as possible. That's right. The state of Missouri is becoming an authoritarian hellhole, at least if you're a transgender person. While the right has been claiming that banning gender-affirming care is only for children, it's only to protect the kids, right? We got to protect children from gender-affirming care because they're being mutilated, they're being castrated. The surgeries don't actually happen when you're a minor. And people on the left have been pointing this out for quite some time. And really, the overall purpose of this is to eliminate transgender people from society entirely. So what does this have to do with Missouri? Well, after banning transgender care for minors, they've decided to take the next step in going after adults. That's right, adults. Wait, well, what happened to protecting children? You're claiming to want to protect the children, and now you're banning it for everyone, just everyone in general. State Attorney General Andrew Bailey recently announced an emergency regulation on Thursday that aims to limit access to gender-affirming care for all Missourians. So these emergency rules make it incredibly difficult to seek gender-affirming care. Now, some of the rules here are, again, extremely bigoted. And also very ableist as well. And so let me point that out. So the emergency rule makes it impossible for trans people of all ages to access this gender-affirming care unless they've exhibited a medically documented, long-lasting, persistent, and intense pattern of gender dysphoria for 3 years. They also have to prove that they've received a full psychological or psychiatric assessment and 15 separate hourly sessions of therapy, at least 10 of which must be with the same therapist. So, by the way, it's also discriminatory to poor trans kids as well and people. So if you don't have enough money to do your state mandated psychological screenings, well, then it's a sad day for you, I guess. Now, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this, but look, they're equating transgenderism with mental illness. You know what they also tried to do with that? Gay and lesbian people. They tried to say the same thing about being gay or lesbian. It's that same rhetoric back here again. Now, the order also says that people seeking such care will have to be screened for autism as well, or other pre-existing conditions such as anxiety and depression and other things. And these pre-existing conditions must have been treated and resolved before a person can even access gender-affirming care. Again, these are all ages. And healthcare providers also will have to check that a minor who is transgender has received a comprehensive screening annually and isn't suffering from social media addiction. What? Care is also prohibited if healthcare workers do not check yearly whether a patient is experiencing social contagion with respect to the patient's gender identity. Holy crap. So, again, with this, they're basically saying that, you see, transgender people, it's a mental illness, and it's also created by watching TikTok videos or something. People have no idea what they're talking about. No idea at all. They think like, oh, no, if you're a cis white male and you see a drag queen reading to children, or they read to you, suddenly you're trans. No, that's not how it works. Look, transgender people have always existed. Gay people have always existed. Lesbians, non-binary, intersex, you name it. this isn't a trend. What we're seeing now is, or at least what we did before the massive freakout from the right wing, is people becoming more comfortable with their own identities and are more than willing to be able to say, yes, this is who I am, it's who I've always been, and now I don't have to hide it anymore. They've always existed. And what the right wing is doing is trying to bury them. I think in some cases, literally trying to bury them. And to get to the mental issues side of it. So, look, are there people in the trans community that do suffer from higher rates of depression, suicide, etc.? Yeah. You know why? A lot of it is because of how they're treated by the right. How they're not supported by families and now have to deal with these bullshit laws that target their very existence. And you know what's one of the things that can help with these issues? Gender-affirming care. Literally. These issues can be mitigated with gender-affirming care, which, yes, does include puberty blockers and other therapies. These interventions are safe and effective and are correlated with better mental health outcomes for transgender people. So, and by the way, on the issue of gender-affirming care for younger people, for teenagers, those who are able to access gender-affirming therapy typically have better mental health outcomes than transgender people who have to wait until they're adults to be able to transition. So, you know, that's the thing, okay? And look, trans activist and researcher Aaron Reed tweeted that what's happening in Missouri is what the elimination of transgender people looks like, and I can't agree more. I'm sitting there we're all sitting here watching this happen in real time. It's not straight to the camps, re-education camps or other kind of camps. No, it starts like this. This is how it starts. Okay? This is how it starts. Now, other groups have come out against this emergency rule. The Attorney General's, this is the ACLU of Missouri, and LGBTQ legal organization Lambda Legal, putting out a joint statement saying the Attorney General's so-called emergency rule is based on distorted, misleading, and debunked claims and ignores the overwhelming body of scientific and medical evidence supporting this care, as well as the medical experts and doctors who work with transgender people every day. Transgender people in Missouri deserve the support and care necessary to give them the same chance to thrive as their peers. So let me say this, right? You know that gender-affirming care isn't just for transgender people. Gender-affirming care, I mean, it's for cis people as well. I mean, you could argue that things like, I don't know, Viagra could be a gender-affirming care. Just the form of it. So it wasn't a problem. And by the way, hormone therapy is for cisgender people who maybe have a deficiency in said hormone. Perfectly fine. Until the right wing decided to, focus on this culture war narrative and otherize people to try to win elections. That's what the whole thing has been about the whole time. Gender affirming care saves lives. And what Missouri is doing is saying, we don't care. We don't care about your life. We don't care about, kids. We don't care about adults. We don't care. We are just going to erase transgender people. And that's it. It's bigotry. It's evil. It's hatred. This is who they are. Just call it out for what it is.